Hello friends and welcome to Jolly Quaker. So this big red book is affectionately known as QF&P, but to give it its full title, it's Quaker Faith and Practice, the Book of Christian Discipline of the Yearly Meeting of the Religious Society of Friends, Quakers in Britain. And this copy is the one I received through the post when I was at university back in 2001. It is a much loved copy, but I do have a confession to make. I haven't actually read everything that is in here, even though I have taught on a course at Woodbrook called A Friendly Introduction to Quaker Faith and Practice. But if you're like me and you've had a copy of Quaker Faith and Practice lying around for a long, long time and you feel you actually haven't delved into it as much as you should, don't feel guilty. And starting this month, October 2015, Quakers in Britain are invited to read and reflect on one or two chapters of this book, either by themselves or in groups, face to face or online, so that as a whole religious society we can better know our tradition and journey as a people of faith. There is a calendar and a website and a Facebook page detailing which chapter we're reading in any one month, so that we can all be on the same page. I want to do a short video each month sharing my own thoughts and reflections on whichever chapter that we're looking at, and I'll be reading my favourite excerpt, and I invite you to join the conversation. This month it's chapter 21 and it's entitled Personal Journey. It's divided into sections titled Youth, Knowing and Accepting Ourselves, Living a Full Life, Creativity, Getting Older, Death and Suffering and Healing. I really like the first section, the youth section, because it emphasises that the personal journey always begins in the communal. So we begin our journey into the Quaker tradition by being with other Quakers, and that Quakerism is transmitted through our shared experience, through immersion in a shared culture, a culture of reverence, I suppose. I also like that the second excerpt reminds us that we can forget that children can be as seriously religious as adults. And I know I've been in a Quaker meeting where children have come in for the last 15 minutes of the hour and have shared something that has been so much more profound than anything that's been said in the 45 minutes previously. So it was a nice reminder. There's a nice reminder in here that we can sometimes be laughing patronisingly at children rather than listening for the word of God that's in them. And this also raises the question of, why do we have children's meetings? Are they a creche or a study group? Because if we communicate Quakerism by immersion, then shouldn't we all be worshipping together? I really like the knowing and accepting ourselves and the suffering and healing sections, as I feel they emphasise that being a Quaker is definitely not about being good or perfect, but rather it's about being faithful and embracing both pain and joy. The section on creativity is interesting, as Quakers now value the arts in a way that they didn't before. And I mean, I feel that in being creative, we engage in God's work of making all things new. And I mean, I'm a musician and I love being creative, but does that mean that anything goes? Because I'd also like to ask if we're being discerning in our attitude towards the arts. From a Quaker perspective, are there songs that shouldn't be sung? Are there art forms that are too extravagant and expensive? And also, are we being creative as Quaker communities as well as in our individual lives? Are we bringing the arts into our communal life? I think it's always interesting to think about where the material on death is placed in the book. Similarly, with the advices and queries, which are at the beginning of this book, where is the best place to put stuff about death? At the end or at the beginning? Because if death could come at any time, And as it says in here, that in accepting our own deaths, we can live more fully, should it be placed earlier in the chapter. It's really difficult to pick a favourite passage from this chapter, especially several of the bits in the suffering and healing section really brought a lump to my throat. But I've chosen 2165, which is by one of my favourite early friends, James Naylor. Art thou in the darkness? Mind it not, for if thou dost, it will fill thee more. But stand still and act not, and wait in patience till light arises out of darkness to lead thee. Art thou wounded in conscience? Feed not there, but abide in the light which leads to grace and truth, which teaches to deny and puts off the weight and removes the cause and brings saving health to light. Do join the conversation, join in the endeavour of reading through the Big Red Book. You can join the conversation on Facebook. You can access materials from the Being Friends Together website for use by yourself or with others. And please do leave comments beneath this video or on my blog, and we can explore this together.